Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to our Board of Selectmen meeting for Wednesday, December 6th at 4 p.m. Now, we're running a little bit behind. It's about 4:11. Our colleague Jeff Palumbo will be joining us shortly. To my left is Jim Lehan. To his left is Jack Hathaway, our town administrator, Marion Harrington, our administrative assistant, and John Curran, our new Board of Assessor, and also we're accompanied by Todd Lindmark, our finance director. Can we please now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Also want to remind folks, this meeting is being video and audio taped, consistent with the open meeting laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and will be rebroadcast on NCTV's government channel and uploaded online to YouTube. Jack, can you read our agenda, please?
Yeah, happy to. At first order of business is a tax classification hearing, followed by a report of the warrants. We have action items, appointment for the Conservation Commission, a one-day liquor license for the public library, consideration of waiving the fees for the costs associated with the permits for the public safety building, allowing a liquor license for restaurants to extend the hours of New Year's Eve until 2 a.m., and consider approving the licenses expiring at the end of the year for the common victualler, liquor, entertainment, class 1, 2, and 3, and taxi. Discussion items, town meeting recap, an open meeting law complaint, and changing committee titles to gender neutral.
We have page 2 there too, right?
Oh, my apologies. We have a liaison update, acceptance of minutes, and then executive session to discuss litigation.
Perfect. Okay, John, floor is all yours.
All right, first thing, I just wanted to give you our ad that was placed 2 weeks prior, so do you need a copy of that?
No, I don't think Mary might need a copy, but
Okay, and you got one, so
Thank you, John.
that was taken care of. Thank you, Board of Selectmen, for having me here, and thank you, citizens of Norfolk, for coming out today. I'm getting ready. The purpose of tonight's presentation is to provide information for the Board of Selectmen to determine what shall be the tax rate for all classes of property for the town for fiscal year 2018. As the Chief Assessor, I'm pleased to announce that the Commissioner of the Revenue has certified our values for fiscal year 2018. This was an interim year for Norfolk, meaning that the property data was analyzed and adjusted as warranted per the real estate market for calendar year 2016. The Commissioner of Revenue has certified that locally assessed values of real and personal property in Norfolk represent a full and fair cash valuation as of January 1st, 2017 for fiscal year 2018. Values were approved by the Department of Revenue on November 7th, 2017. The board will recall 2 years ago, fiscal year 16 was a revaluation year with Department of Revenue. In years past, the next 2 years would be the interim years. With the Municipal Modernization Act, they switched it to every 5-year cycle. So our next full revaluation will be fiscal year 2021 for that.
3 years from now, if my math is right.
Yes, yep. The purpose of this hearing. The purpose of this hearing, under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 56, a classification hearing allows a community to have different tax rates for different classes of property and allows the Board of Selectmen to make decisions as to whether or not to shift some of the tax burden from one class of property or to another. The statute provides a maximum allowable portion of the tax levy to be borne by the commercial, industrial, and personal properties. The purpose of this hearing is to determine the percentage share of the tax levy that each class of property will bear. And if the Board of Selectmen votes to split the tax rate among the property classes, the adopted percentage is then used by the assessor to determine which portions of the tax levy will be paid by each class of property and calculate the tax rate. Once a vote is taken, I will ask the board to sign an LA5 form and also grant me the authorization to digitally sign it and submit it on the Department of Revenue's gateway system.
Okay.
Before we can decide if shifting the tax burden is in the best interest of the town, we need to discuss the proposed tax rate and steps taken to arrive at that figure. So how the tax rate is set. Contrary to one school of thought, neither the selectmen nor the assessor can raise or lower the tax rate. Spending is determined and approved by the voting public through town meeting, creating a total amount required to meet the accepted budget. The amount required to be raised through taxation to meet the needs of the approved budget is called the levy. There is a limit to the amount of money that can be levied in any given year based on the prior year's levy limit, new growth, and any voted overrides. The first piece of information is what is approved at town meeting. It is the participation of the townspeople at town meeting that determines the level of services desired. These services, such as your schools, fire, police protection, road maintenance, also including snow removal, your library, your senior center, and more, make up the budget. How is the tax rate set? During the past year, town meetings were held, one in May and one just last night. Monies were approved at those meetings, and they totaled nearly $44 million. Once again, on how the tax rate is set, should be little people in there. Not.
What happened?
They're very little.
Yeah,
Hit it forward one more time.
There's the people, okay. At the two town meetings held this year, the total budgeted dollars approved totaled the $44 million, plus the so-called cherry sheet assessment money from the state. So there's our total amount, the $43,617,157, minus any state money that we've been granted. So there's the total town budget, minus the state reimbursement, then minus local receipts. And the local receipts include motor vehicle excise tax, permit fees, so-called free cash or savings, and other sums not spent in prior years are also subtracted from the total budget. So once again, we got the total town budget, the state reimbursement, and then our local receipts. And that gives us our tax levy that we have to raise at $31,009,998. How are the assessments determined? There are over 4,000 properties in town with over 100 distinct components that make up the assessed value. In order to keep this data as fresh and accurate as possible, the assessor's office team reviews property sales. There were over 180 arm's length transactions for 2016. We compile, evaluate income and expense information along with forms lists from commercial properties, complete detailed inspections of improved properties such as all the building permits, and there were over 800 inspections in a year on average with that. We review the outcome of the completed building permits. I apologize, the 800 inspections that we do are part of our cyclical program of seeing every property on a 9-year cycle. And then there were 298 building permits issued that year. And then we use that information to update and evaluate any construction cost trends, and that along with our CAMA, computer-assisted assessment software. We map the sales on the assessor's map to ensure we're aware of any trends in the neighborhoods, and we submit that data to the Department of Revenue for their review. State law requires our assessments to fall within 90 and 110% of market value. Simplistically speaking, if a home similar to yours is sold in 2016 between $450,000 and $500,000, then your assess should fall somewhere within that range. If you bought your property in 2016, your assessment should be somewhere close to your purchase price. How the assessments are determined. What we are looking at is our LA 13, and it shows all of our property classes. A little cut off, but on the far left where you see property class, it goes right down. So 101's at the top. Those are our single families. You can see there's 3,075 single family houses that we have assessed for a total value of $1,392,550,550. Goes right down to 2 families, 3 families, condos, commercial, industrial, and then down the bottom, personal property. So with all that, we have our actual levy that we already discussed of the 31 million. The total assessed value for the whole town is the $1,665,413,394. And it's a very simple calculation where we divide the actual levy by the total assessed value, multiply it by 1,000, and we come out with a single tax rate of $18.62 would raise the amount for the actual levy. With the tax rate established, the evaluation of...
John, sorry, is it okay to interrupt?
Yep.
What was the, because I know we're trying to get back to prior assessed values, obviously the market's dipped and changed. So this 1.6 billion, could you put that in reference? I didn't see a slide in there, like what was last year assessed value?
Last year was $1,639,000,000 and some change.
Okay. So creeping back up, but.
Yeah.
You used to put charts up like 2007 or 8, it was our best or highest assessed value roughly? 2008, okay.
Yeah, on that. So, with the single rate set, we can start to think about the evaluation of the impact of shifting more of the burden to other classes. Without a split tax rate, a single-family house with an average assessment of $450,000 will pay approximately $8,379. Residential condo with an average value of $384,000. The average value of condos will be going up next year as the Boyd's Crossing units all start selling in the $600,000 range. Commercial property with an average assessment of $714,000 would pay about $13,294, and industrial properties with an average assessed value of $265,000, about $4,934. If we were to do a split tax rate, a single-family house would save about $150 per year, the condos about $130, and our limited commercial in town both would increase commercial industrial, the commercial by about $3,200 per year on their real estate tax bill, and the industrial is about $1,200 per year on that. If we were to split it at 150%, the average single-family house would save about $300 per year, condos about $266 per year, but the commercial would go up about $6,300 per year, and industrial about $2,400. My suggestion with the limited commercial base in this town, that we keep it with a single tax rate, and go from there. Just, I don't think it would be advantageous to the small amount of commercial in town to put the burden on them. And with that, I thank the Board of Selectmen for hearing me on this.
Just, sorry, a couple things that I wanted to actually meant to add in the beginning of this conversation was just that as Jim likes to say, the opportunities, but the challenges and opportunities of the beginning of the year. The transition from former chief assessor to John, as well as kind of the simultaneous loss of our data collector. So I want to just acknowledge John and his new data collector John as well, for and actually Todd too, because Todd filled in the gap between assessors and brought in some consultants to help us fill in some of the gaps. They really did a lot of work to help us transition. It's not an easy thing because there's the data the software vision. You know, there's a lot that, obviously there's a lot that goes on at different, particularly at different times of the year, but, you know, following this tax rate setting, John will then go in and lock down the values, and then, well, those are actually already locked down, but then he'll make adjustments to those as he starts analyzing for next year's assessments. And there was a lot of catch-up that had to happen as John came on board, so just wanted to, you know, share that with you and give John some credit for, and Todd for making that transition as painless as possible.
Question?
Could you pull up that chart on the property values again? I know I've got it on the
Yeah.
sheet here, but just,
This one right here?
yep.
And let me see if I can get
The
this full
second
screen
column
for
is the
you.
condo number,
Yep, 102s are our condo numbers.
and that is my eyes, it's 90 million roughly,
Um,
89 million.
89 million total value of condos.
and that's at 390, did you say? 389, somewhere around there, average?
The average?
Yes, let me go right to the, here.
But 384.
Yep, 384.
And you anticipate that next year that will go up to what?
I don't think it will go up to full 600, but, you know, probably over 4. The average price, depends how many units at Boyd Cross and Sell. Their base price at Boyd's is $619, going up to just under 700,000. So if that whole complex of 40 units sells out, it's certainly gonna bring the average condos
Yeah, I mean,
up.
I think the 230 that are existing, that's a heavy anchor to move, if you will, because 40 is only gonna move that 230, you know, increment. It's not gonna drive that average
No,
up
unfortunately.
too significantly.
Yeah.
And what was the percentage of the increase in property values between last year and this year?
The percentage was 1.58.
No, I mean, what did the average property go up?
Oh,
2%,
the average
3%,
property.
12%?
So our total valuation was up about the 1.5%. The average property on an individual basis, I calculated the single-family houses the other day of arm's length sales only, and it was 2.5%.
Do you know what the average assessment was last year for the single-family homes?
For last year, was it 449?
So it went from 449 to 450.
Yeah, 453.
450.
I like to just clear, you know, using a mass appraisal technique, I try to get people to not think of the typical bank appraisal that is very specific in dealing with that one house that they're looking at. Where a mass appraisal technique is we're encompassing whole neighborhoods and trying to keep things fair and equitable across the board for everyone. So sometimes, you know, there is a difference between a fair market value and an assessed value. An assessed value is used for taxation purposes, a bank appraisal is used for lending purposes, so you have very specific values that you're trying to get out of different approaches to coming up with that value.
And would you say, I mean, is it a weird word, but unfair to use the fair market value approach, or is there leeway at all in terms?
Well, you know, like we mentioned in this, the DOR does want us to be plus or minus 10%, but it would be impossible to nail every single property to an exact fair market value, so that's why they give you the leeway, and that's something that they look for when we get certified. They want to see, you know, do you have any outliers? Why was that an outlier?
And you said you can go between, what, 90 and 110% of fair market value?
Yeah, and they call that the assessment to sales ratio.
And where do we usually stand? Where, I mean, do you have
We came in this year at 0.94, which is a really good number, because once you start getting above 95, you're almost saying, you know, half your properties are overvalued when you go up in the assessment to sales ratio. So 0.94 is a very good spot to be at.
questions?
So in terms of, you know, the split rate discussion, I assume that that's coming up? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, this town, just because of the small commercial base we have, I don't feel that it's advantageous to have that. If we're trying to encourage more commercial people to come to town, why work against them and put the burden on them?
Yeah, so we need you to take a vote of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
disagree.
yeah, that's
I
my
know that's an
suggestion, but
integral part of
obviously
the
up to your vote on
process,
that.
So yeah.
Yeah, you know, historically and traditionally, you've always been a single rate tax town.
Questions from folks that are here? Yeah, just grab a microphone, please, and identify yourself. I assume it's on.
This on, Christine? Mr. Chairman, could you tell me how much, if any, of the existing public safety project dollars are in this tax rate?
I can't tell you personally, Jack.
Not a whole lot. I think there's still more to go on. Do you know, I don't know if you know off the top of your head.
1 point.
So only the 1.8 out of the 14 million is on.
So we still have 90% of the total appropriation to be added to the tax rate.
Correct. Well, I don't think that's 90%, but a big portion of it, yes.
Okay, just building a buffer for over. And at that time, we anticipated how much was the public safety building hit to the tax rate? Was it 80, 90 cents? I can't remember.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I thought 53, but maybe 90, I don't know, I'd have to look, I know what you mean, I don't remember the number, or when the total value's on there.
Give me a minute, I may have it.
Okay.
If you have other questions, I'm still looking here.
I guess the only other question I have while you look for that actual number is, are we still hard and fast on the 14 million?
On for the project?
Yes.
Well, that's all we're
You mean,
appropriating.
is the project on target in terms of the financials?
As far as the town meeting appropriation, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
yes. We've had, I mean, like any project, we've had some change orders, but nothing unexpected. We haven't run into anything too dramatic that we didn't anticipate, but,
That's fair.
but on the police station, I'd say we're pretty close to where we think we wanted to be. Fire station, we haven't started yet. The plans haven't been final, I mean, the concept plan has been finalized, but the drawings haven't been finalized.
Right. We never really had any real numbers on that to start with.
Well, but it's included in the overall obligation. I mean, both projects are part of the same obligation. But so far, they appear, Peter, that's the answer I can give, because we're still early in the process, but so far it appears like we're on target.
Fine, thank you.
You didn't find that number then, I don't know.
Still looking.
Okay. Other questions? Comments? Okay.
You're asking about the 2 million that we borrowed,
I forget,
No.
whatever the impact to the actual tax rate was for that
that
project.
we borrowed to purchase the building?
No, the total package, right? You're looking at the
Total
total.
project.
package.
Because we had a number,
14, wasn't it?
no, but what does it impact? Is it,
What's
And
the
also,
impact of
when,
tax
when
rate?
do we anticipate
oh,
that
okay,
hitting the
okay.
tax rate? I
Right.
guess would be the
I'm sorry,
last
I'm
question.
sorry, I misunderstood the question.
yeah.
The last I mean, I can answer that, that'll be next year.
So next year's
we
tax
borrowed the money.
classification hearing will have that
Yeah.
number buried in.
Fiscal year 19.
I do not have it, Peter. I have the budget numbers, but I do not have the projected costs on that.
Okay, I'm sure it's probably in old
I have
minutes.
it, I just don't have it with me.
Fine, thank you.
Just a comment, but
Yeah.
there's also, I mean, you know this anyway, but there's also debt coming off the books at the same time.
I don't know that, but.
Well, every year, we've got, I think, 7 or 8 years left on King Philip. I'm pretty sure it's 7 or 8 years, and 7 or 8 years left, I think, in the middle school. We're in the 3rd year of or 2nd year.
Freeman Kennedy, I think we're in the 3rd year. as
Third
far as
year,
the budget goes.
And that's a reducing debt, so the number goes down every year. So I can't tell you off the top of my head how much comes off, whether it's equivalent to what will go back on. I can't tell you that off the top of my head, but there is that calculation. It's not a pure on, because there is debt coming off.
Understood, thank you.
Okay, thoughts on,
Had
you know,
that number.
single tax rate versus split? I mean, I think John
Typically,
nailed it.
that's the
but-
conversation that we have, is that, you know, we don't want to discourage
I don't have it.
any type of commercial development.
I have all the
And,
numbers. I just-
you know, in terms of how much it would move the needle anyway, if we were to do it.
Well, that's it.
So, you know. so
Communities that
there's
have a
couple-
lot larger portion of commercial, it makes sense to do that, you know, but we're talking, 50% of
Right.
the, where I worked in Rentham, you know, they have a tremendous amount with the mall and everything, it made sense there. But with a smaller commercial base, it works against them.
That motion for, Single
I
rate?
move to have a single tax rate for both commercial and residential property.
Second.
any further discussion?
Should we just make that for, just say for all classes?
All classes.
All class.
Thank you. All classes.
Second.
So amended, okay.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. John, you need them to sign?
Yes.
And John, thanks for jumping in so quick and getting so much done in such a short period of time.
Thank you. Some signatures right across the way there.
Okay.
All three?
Feel free, Mr. Chairman.
Is it just sign this one paper?
Yeah, because I sign it digitally and send it into them. This goes to Carol and comes out record.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Thanks, Jeffrey, sir. You signed a lot of stuff. That's it, I think. That's it. Yep. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks again.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Take care, John.
Great. Jack, what's next?
Next. Report of the warrants.
Okay. All righty, can I get a motion? They've been reviewed and signed by either Jim or myself. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, sir.
James Wilson?
Okay.
Sure if he was here. I think you have a letter in your packet from James Wilson, requesting to be appointed to the Conservation Commission, term to expire June 30th, 2020.
Okay.
Actually, a note from Marion in there.
Yep, I saw that too.
Mhm.
Okay. Can I get a
Got
motion?
a forestry degree.
Okay.
Fine institution of University of New Hampshire, one of the greatest institutions known to man.
No plug, no shameless plugs, but that's okay. We'll get that,
I have two daughters that would agree with you.
shameless, all right. Do I have a, motion to appoint?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Of course, I did see the
No,
YouTube.
Thank you
interview.
for volunteering. That's a tough board to get people to
Okay,
volunteer for.
and this is for a term to expire June 30th, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Jack.
We request from Serena Bloom, Library Director, for a one-day liquor license at the library to serve wine at the cookbook discussion group for their meeting on Thursday, December 14th at 7 p.m.
Question, I mean, I assume the chief, is it like, do they have to be tip certified? How do they serve? I mean, how do they protect or what?
They're not, but it's a pretty calm group of people.
You never know. They might be arguing over a book club. Get heated. Okay. I know they've done this in the
You
past.
have
so-
not seen my wife's book.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So easy there, okay. Next, sir.
Then we have a request from, comes through the facilities director for, and we've done this for the building permit, but we wanted to waive, there's a request to waive the water fees for the permit fee for the public safety project, the police project, I should say.
Now, it's just Jack, though, is it technically just, is it encompassing just the police, or is it really Metacombat and police?
I mean, we just provide them water to the second floor as a tenant, so it's, the connection itself is from the street to the building. So
Okay.
that's
So
our,
it's really
that's
our,
our
as
responsibility. Yeah.
the owner of the building, if you will? And do we do the same thing, like with the school, or is this common?
We have, yeah.
Yes.
Question, Jeff, did you receive, I mean,
No, it's pretty
Yeah.
standard
Okay.
practice.
No,
All right.
standard practice.
motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then we have the annual consideration of allowing the liquor license restaurants that hold liquor licenses to extend their hours on New Year's Eve until 2 a.m.
Done this in the past few years. I haven't, there's been no reported problems, right, Jack, since we've been
I have
doing?
not.
They've been requesting it, it's been being granted, okay.
And these are for Eagle Brook Restaurant, Horse and Carriage Restaurant, Novotos Bar and Grill Restaurant. All patrons must be off premises by 2:45.
Perfect. Motion to,
AM.
Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, the fun stuff. Year end licenses. We have a list there, how do we do that? Yes, we do. Okay.
Want me to start?
Yeah, if you wanna start, that would be fantastic.
I move to approve a liquor license for the following organizations: Eagle Brook Saloon, Restaurant, all alcohol; Novotos Bar and Grill LLC, Restaurant and all alcohol; Horse and Carriage Restaurant, Restaurant, all alcohol; Celia's Coffee House, Restaurant, all alcohol; For Kicks, on premise, wine and malt; Norfolk Wine and Spirits, Inc., package store, all alcohol; Provo Discount Liquors, package store, all alcohol; Linda's Variety Store, package store, all alcohol; Norfolk Food Mart, package store, all alcohol; Jill's Market and Deli, package store, wine and malt; Craft Beer Cellar Norfolk, package store, wine and malt.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think no issues with any, right, other than the one we knew
No
about.
violations, no?
Just the one we knew about.
Okay. Next.
I moved to approve the following entertainment licenses, which expire the 31st, December 31st, 2018. Live entertainment, Eagle Brook Saloon, 5 instruments; Novotos, single entertainer or DJ; Celia's, 1-2 live musicians, movies. Automatic amusement devices, 4 Kicks, 11 coin-operated machines; Norfolk Rink Management, 3 coin-operated machines.
A second on that?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, questions? Okay. All's in favor?
Aye.
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 I move to approve the following common
I know.
Why is that such,
Victular.
vitular, why is that such a hard word? License expiring December 31st, 2018. Eagle Brook Saloon, Novotos Bar and Grill LLC, Horse and Carriage Restaurant, 4 Kicks; Celia's Coffee House, Norfolk Town Pizza, Bork's Restaurant, Dunkin' Donuts Main Street, Dunkin' Donuts Dedham Street, Center Ice Inc., Aroma Italian Pizza and Roast Beef Subway, and Organic Buzz Cafe and Juice Bar.
Okay, I know you're reading it the way it's written here.
I
but
am.
Novardos has an R in it?
No.
No. Novatos, okay. My apologies.
Do I have a second on that? As printed?
Resounding yes. Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There is a second page that Marion went to go get.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Goes that for like, like the class 2, 1, 2, 3s and taxis?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. For a second?
Glad to read it as soon as I can find it.
No, she went
No,
to get
she
it.
went
Oh,
to
she went to
Yeah.
get it. Oh, no wonder I can't find it. Okay. I feel a little better.
We'll just like pause, hold on, folks.
We can talk about Todd while Marion's gone.
Oh, that's too, yeah, he seems to be quiet.
I think Todd's gonna come in and, although he and I haven't discussed it, the timing of it, but Todd's probably due for a quarterly update to come in sometime pretty soon.
State of the Union, finances? Nice. Okay, Marion.
Todd did hire a new assistant treasurer collector, along with Anne Marie, who's no longer in the back of the room.
Nice. Oh, so that's, then when did they start? They start already, or going to start?
Monday.
Monday, excellent.
Unfortunately, the DPW is gonna be looking for a new administrative assistant because we stole somebody from the DPW again to move over to the treasurer's.
Oh, they did, yeah, okay.
Who's that?
Christine.
Oh, good for her.
Maybe less, maybe it's a shorter commute, I don't know where she lives. She lives in my area, it'd be better to work at the DPW, closer to work at the DPW.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Last one.
These places would've gone out of business.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Marion, are you set?
She said. I've been taking notes.
Jeff, you wanna You wanna start that one?
Okay. So, I guess we'll start with the Class 1. You ready?
Yep. Right away, sir.
So, I move to approve the Class 1 license for the following establishments to expire December 31st, 2018. Cliffs Cycles, LVJ Trailers and Equipment, LLC, MPG Motorsports Incorporated.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Next is Class 2. I move to approve the Class 2 licenses for the following establishments, licenses to expire December 31st, 2018. Bond required on all Class 2 licenses. Auto Clinic, Artisan Motor Group Incorporated, Norfolk Auto Incorporated, Mitch's Repair Service, doing business as Orlando's Garage, and Speedmaster Motor Cars LLC.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the, Marion, all bonds been posted? Do we know, everything's, no problem? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next is Class 3 license.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna take over? That's fine.
No, I said you're almost there. I said flip over the page.
I thought you were gonna help. Okay.
Yeah.
Next is Class 3 licenses. So, I move to approve the Class 3 license for, looks like one establishment, license to expire December 31st, 2018, and that is the establishment known as Norfolk Auto Repair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, last but not least,
And lastly, I move to approve the taxi licenses, also known as Hackney, for the following establishment. I assume this is December 31st, 2018. It doesn't say it, but is that, to expire December 31st, 2018, for Norfolk Town Taxi Service.
do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
One question, didn't we have a second taxi?
I think we used to. Yeah, that's right.
They're all gone?
We had a spike and then not a spike, okay. So that's all set, we signed them all, or we're in the process of signing them all, Marion, I think. You wanna give, I don't know if you have time to give a look before we jet out, but
Put them in here.
thanks, sir.
You better double check. I think they're all,
I missed them before, okay.
there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. Can you pass that over to Marion? Okay, what's next, Jack?
Town meeting recap.
Okay. It was a great night in terms of participation, I think, and discussion for the first time in a long time. About 190 folks is what I heard.
That was a great turnout.
It's been a lively discussion. I don't know if you have highlights yet. I mean, for folks.
I mean, I didn't write up, I didn't get a chance to write up anything. I don't, I think we all, obviously, we were all there. Stretch code passed, the marijuana restriction passed, sale of authorization for the sale of Old Town Hall and the easement for the driveway, both were defeated. Capital items and transfers are all passed unanimously. Nice job, Todd. Can't think of any other, those were the big ones. I don't, we put this on there in case there was some
Right, no, okay,
kinda,
right, gotcha, okay. Okay, great. Good enough on that, thank you. Thanks, again, thanks folks at home that took the time to come out on a kind of cold, rainy night. But it was a different venue too at the school, so we'll be back in our regular place at the KP Middle School hopefully next time, in the spring. All right, next, Jack?
Yeah, just out of curiosity, I mean, I know, I did hear a couple of concerns from people about being in that location, but I thought overall went well. For fall town meeting, I thought that was a decent location. In some
think
ways it worked out better, but other way, there were some,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem either way. I think the mics go kind of loud and stuff like that, too.
Yeah, if we could get volume controls on the mics,
Yeah.
that would be nice.
It was crowded, so we need more, maybe we need more space. I'm fine, yeah, I think people traditionally know where to go. I don't know how many people
Yeah.
didn't remember, we changed places on them, so try to keep it standard, you know.
I would like to think that the Springtown meeting wouldn't be too big for that facility.
Oh, yeah, no,
With a little bit of luck.
Oh, I agree. I would definitely think the Springtown meeting would be at the middle school. The fall town meeting, if we weren't expecting a overflow audience, I thought that,
You know,
I was just looking to see if you guys thought that was okay for future use if we had a small meeting.
Yeah, but it's sometimes hard to tell. I guess we have to base it on the warrant itself, but you just never know when people, hopefully it just keeps growing, but I know what you're saying.
the one thing that, I guess I debate whether to say this or not, but one of the things that was, I guess, have to say disappointing to me last night, the turnout was terrific, the debate was good, but there were a lot of comments that were very disrespectful to people because they disagreed. And people disagree all the time. That's what creates a healthy debate. But there was some definite lack of respect for differing views, and I haven't seen that in Norfolk town meeting in a long time. And that's disappointing. I'd love to see the passion. I certainly had some passion on the marijuana issue, but you know, people, I would hope, would be willing to accept differing views, and it's okay. And it's okay to say I don't agree. But to, you know, be disrespectful and almost condescending to people's opposing views is not what we are used to in our town meetings, and that was disappointing to me. And I think part of the fact was that when you're sitting that close, because we're not that close when we're in the middle school,
Right, yeah, a little bit.
quite honestly, you could hear everything. And it's just, I wish it didn't happen, but, you know, it seems to be prevalent everywhere now, that people are having a hard time talking about their differences and views without getting angry. And
True. And it discourages people from speaking up, too. I mean, you want to have
It
open
does.
dialogue, I
It-
would think.
it
I mean, people
does.
can debate, like you said, it's up to the folks at home, I mean, the citizens to figure out what they think is best, but they should be able to do it without fear of, I don't want to say reprisal, but, you know.
I agree that it was different than any of the
it was a noticeable difference.
meetings that I've been
Yeah.
involved with in all the years, in that respect. You know, I thought, you know, good comments, you know, for and against the various articles. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, some very insightful thoughts, and so it was very good, but at the same time, I mean, it was somewhat troublesome because I think, as you alluded to, Jim, I think people may be less likely to comment if they feel that they could be personally attacked. And that needs to be discouraged at every turn if we're gonna be successful as a town.
And I don't mean any of this in the sense that you don't want people involved. That's not my point. We want people involved. I'd love to have seen 400 people there last night. And there were some impassioned people regarding various items, and that's a good thing. They worked hard on it, and they have every right to display that passion. But I don't know, it just seems that there is this trend of this kind of unwillingness to have a reasonable discussion.
Yeah, my point, just to clarify, is that the people, if they felt that they were criticized subsequent to speaking, that they may be less inclined to speak in the future. That's the point of my
I had one woman come up to me after the meeting and say that she was very reluctant to come again because of that. She is one of the women that spoke, and she felt that she was pretty much talked down, so to speak. And that's unfortunate, that you know, we will discourage people from participating in the process because of that. It's just not right.
Well, I think one of the things that was mentioned, and we typically don't hear much along these lines, is when you question people's motives in terms of whether they're speaking in good faith in terms of their opinion, or if they have some other type of agenda, and we heard some of that, and that's particularly discouraging to me.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was a great turnout, great debate. Some people worked very hard. The presentations were well thought out, put together, and You know, I applaud that. I just hope that it was a glitch in how we conduct our business, and that we can have those discussions in a different way.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, hopefully in the spring it'll be better, and more people, and nicer. All right, Jack, next.
We received an open meeting law complaint.
Okay, I did see that packet, my first, so, in terms of that, we have received an open meeting complaint. We want to acknowledge receipt of that complaint, and the town administrator has instructed town council to review the complaint and prepare a response to the initiator, as well as the attorney general. I think that's all we can say on that tonight. At least I'm prepared to say on that tonight.
And then you wanted to talk about changing titles for committees to gender neutral.
Go ahead.
Scott, I was the one that filed this open meeting law complaint, as you're well aware, you all have copies of it, it's a public record. My name is Peter Shipman, Overley Road.
Microphone.
Again, Peter Shipman, Overley Road, I am the filer of this open meeting law complaint. Scott, under the Mass General Law's requirements of the public, open meeting law, you're required to hold a hearing. Does this obviate the timeline by just this non-action today?
I'm not aware that it does. I mean, I'm not, like I said, this is the first one that's occurred under, since I've been on the board, so I'm not sure
All right.
timeline-wise what the rules and regs are, to be honest with you. I'm looking
I can
at Jack.
check with town council. Day we received this, I gave this to town council, and that's the advice he gave to us. He's planning on coming to town and meeting with the 3 selectmen to talk about it and to respond as he's required.
Okay, so by law, I believe it's 14 days, I'm going from memory, 14 business days.
It sounds right. I didn't re-review the law. I don't know if Carol knows it off the top of her head, but 14 days.
I'd rather have it sooner than later, so, yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as he gives, as soon as he, if it helps us answer that, we'll answer that. And we definitely within the 14 days, if not sooner.
He said he's available to come out tomorrow, so if any of you want to
Okay.
meet with him tomorrow, he will
I will,
come.
I will meet with him tomorrow then. That's no problem.
As will I.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tomorrow is the 7th, okay, thank you, Jack. Okay, changing committee titles to gender neutral. That was brought up, that was put on the agenda by myself. I was, got an inquiry from a young lady at the newspaper asking us, and it's funny because the timing was good because I just heard about the Brookline changing it from, selectmen to select board to, I didn't realize it went as far and as wide as, all public documents or positions, become gender neutral, which, again, I think is my opinion, is a terrific idea. I mean, I'm comfortable calling us selectmen because many towns have select women on the board, and we've had it in this town, so, select persons, select board members, it's fine with me, I mean.
Yeah.
And no, again, I brought it up because it was the Sun Chronicle contacted me about it, and I think in this day and age anyways, I mean, again, it is neutral, I mean, we're open to anyone that wants to be on the board.
I think it's a great idea. I've always found it awkward when we've had women serving in this capacity to call them selectmen. It's kind of an awkward term, so, but no, I'm all for it.
Now, in terms of procedure, Jack, I mean, they voted, I mean, I'd like to vote and put it in public record anyways, but I mean, is that, how do we form a motion? I mean, is it just, I don't want to say executive or it's not, I mean, we just.
We do, the complicated part is we gotta do we gotta change all the bylaws.
Oh, okay.
The charter, right?
Yeah.
It's in the charter.
Oh, okay.
So it's not,
Okay.
I mean, we can, I would think, my suggestion would be if you want to take a vote to, I guess, informally recognize ourselves as, or yourselves as the select board, or whatever, I'm sorry, what the term is, that would be one thing, and then we should pursue a process of either going through a charter or at least going through bylaw changes, because
Okay, no, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
incorporated all through our bylaws, so.
Okay, I forgot
And
that,
I
sorry.
hadn't really thought of that until,
I don't know if that's how the other towns accomplish it, but I definitely would like, if my colleagues are okay with that, I would definitely like, you know, to have it as an informal, but to work towards, you know, getting it, you know, as quickly and as painless as we can do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, my fault from it.
Is there any reason why we can't just make that change in terms of how we address ourselves and then?
No, that's what I mean, yeah, well,
Is that-
that's what I was trying to
okay.
say by the informal, that, you know, it's, for, yeah, self-identification and, you know, even for correspondence, identify yourself as the, you know, the new name. and,
Norfolk Select Board.
But I just don't wanna miss the details of going through the bylaws and all of our any other documents that we may have that define all of the boards. It's really, I would assume just the general bylaws, but probably the zoning bylaws as well.
Okay. So you want to make a yeah, can I get, you know, at least on the informal basis? I know, I don't know
Do you
the,
have and I
How-
didn't
Yeah, I
see
got it.
what you had in the packet, I don't think you had anything. in the
No,
packet.
there's
I didn't
nothing.
have my, I'm sorry, I didn't provide your idea. I like our idea, the select board.
I like the idea too. I mean,
You know, it's the Norfolk Select Board.
new business cards. Where is the terminology? Yeah.
Let me ask you, your procedure, is it, under discussion items, we can obviously, but, you know, even though it's listed as a discussion item, we can,
I wouldn't,
No, I don't think we can
Yeah.
vote it if it's not an action
I
item.
didn't do it right. Again, I just brought this up, you know, so let's take this up at
Well,
our June
so
9th meeting.
so that actually helps, I'll talk to Dave and make sure that whatever the formal process is for getting that changed, we do
Okay.
so.
All right, thank you, guys, I appreciate that. So we'll bring that back up on January 9th. Sorry for confusion for anyone at home.
Now, are we gonna, based on, do we need to have another meeting in December in order to deal with this?
Dave made it sound like he could just respond with a letter, but
That's different than.
you
a
guys
public
might
hearing.
wanna take a vote, to approve the letter.
I never had one, so I don't know, if we need the, I
I
need
never
Dave's
had one
advice
either.
too. So I wanna do whatever, you know.
This is a first for all of us,
Right.
so.
I'm gonna ask Carol if she knows did she look up the process?
I just wanna be sure whatever the process is, we follow it to the letter.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
And I know you all agree.
I do. And again, I know we have days, I don't like to sit on things just because it's, sometimes things slip through the cracks, and I know people are busy, but like, I'll either do it sooner than
Are
later.
you around tomorrow?
I am generally available now for a while. I'm not traveling by airplane
back.
for a while.
Nice to
Thank
have
you.
you back.
5 weeks in a row.
I'm available tomorrow as well,
Okay, he said he'd be around tomorrow afternoon.
so. Well, we can't meet them together
Right,
because we're
yeah.
not posted, so we'll have
I'm
to
around
meet
too, I'm
individually.
free, then I'm out of pocket next week though, Monday through Thursday, so, New York City.
I'll either later tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll schedule all three of you.
Okay, perfect.
Probably do Jeff first if, just have you pick a slot first if you.
Yeah, I've got a couple important visitors tomorrow. Tomorrow
How's he
might
get-
be
how's he
tricky
get
for
Friday?
me.
Shouldn't the chair?
He's
get
got a
it?
Friday.
boss.
I'm just teasing.
No,
I'm just teasing.
That's right.
Jeff's a morning person, I'm not a morning person.
He
Jeff's
won't
probably up
be-
at 5
He won't be here
AM.
in the morning, he's
Yeah.
only gonna be here in the
Lately-
Oh,
afternoon.
afternoon, I'm an
Lately, on
afternoon guy.
weekends, I'm up that time, which is unusual for me.
Yeah.
You do what you gotta do, right?
I mean, I think, I think time consuming wise, it's probably me and Jim that Dave needs to talk to.
Right, yeah, I agree, yeah.
So maybe, you know, maybe we should just do that, and then if he needs to talk to you, you guys,
I'm fine with that,
he can call you on your cell phones and.
I'm fine with that, yeah, no, it makes sense, I have no problem with that. Okay.
All right, the chair must disseminate the complaint to the members of the public body. That's been done. The public body must meet to review the complaint within 14 business days, usually 20 to 22 calendar days. After review, but within 14 business days, the public body must respond to the complaint in writing and must send the complainant a response and description of any action the public body has taken to address it. At the same time, the body must send the Attorney General a copy of the response. The public body may delegate this responsibility to its counsel or a staff member, but only after it is met to review the complaint. If a public body requires more time to review the complaint and respond, it may request an extension of time for good cause by contacting the Division of Open Government. So,
Sounds like we're following it to the letter.
yeah, although, I mean, I think Mr. Chipman's point that it was, talking about reviewing the complaint, we do need to do that. I guess I would like to have the discussions with Dave first, so I would have, just as, to be cautious, as I would, as a,
I
So then we have to
I
reconvene.
have no
though.
issue in dealing with this.
So you're
Yeah.
saying, though, we're gonna need to reconvene, before we send the written response? I think we need to reconvene.
Well, what constitutes reviewing? I mean, there's
We have to-
some information here. Is that a sufficient review for this stage in the process, I guess,
That's
is
a good question.
after,
my interpretation. I've reviewed the complaint. It's
Okay.
here.
As have
Can we
I.
ask Dave that too? I know this is all new to us, so let's think of, like, to Jeff's point,
Yeah.
what it constitutes a review? Or do we have to publicly discuss and say, okay,
I don't know.
these
I
three
mean,
things-
that would make sense based on what Dave told me, and that's kind of what I was following, was that
I see that.
Dave, it's, yeah. Dave said he would, respond with a letter. I don't think you need to have an open hearing, as I think.
Doesn't say that.
All right.
Right.
Just says that we have to meet to review.
Okay, let's just
And we-
clarify,
we
yeah.
have-
Again, we can always schedule a quick one if we had to. It's on
Dave
this
thinks
end of
we
the year,
do
we
this
got
one.
time. But I'd like to get it done starting tomorrow.
Okay.
Please. Okay? What's next?
I don't think we need to go into,
You have
executive session. Dave did have a court appearance for run and gun. The update from him is really, I mean, I don't think there's anything that, that would require executive session. His liaison updates. Oh,
We didn't change anything though, I thought. What happened? We didn't change anything on liaisons, we just kept it the same.
no, I think that's like that's the new business update. That's,
We're gonna do that to cover,
Oh,
because you
lia-
can't do new business. You guys can report on things through your liaison.
down here.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Is that covered though if you have an interaction though with just someone from the public is not on one of our liaison boards?
I don't know. I don't know, Jeff.
More than 90 days.
Yeah, I know, and he talks about that in the complaint, that he just found out about it.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, again, I assume that's somewhat is valid. I mean, again, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah. A liaison update. Sorry, Marion. I thought, Jack, I'm sorry. My bad. I
Right.
thought that
No,
meant,
because I went down the same path you did. So this is an update from the liaisons. This is not an update of the liaisons.
right, but my question back to, I'm questioning Marion now, was,
Say that again?
if we have a conversation with a citizen in the town, as Jim did, that's not really, is that covered? I know, I don't know what's the best way. I want to be, above board, follow the law, obviously.
And I think we should have that discussion with Dave again tomorrow, because that,
Okay.
kind of relates to this open meeting law question, this complaint. If something comes up, within, as in the normal course of business with one selectman, with a third party,
That's what I mean.
whether it's a
That's-
resident or
Anything
through
built-
a
whatever third
liaison
party, yeah.
relationship, it is not, you can't put all of those items on an agenda. It doesn't make practical sense. Like right now, we could have a process of, each of you talking about your 5 liaison relationships, and it's not practical to have all those items on an agenda. And so Dave said, put something like liaison updates, new business updates on the agenda, which seems to go against the original, when the open meeting law changed, seems to go against that guidance that said you can't just have a blanket area. So, I think this is part of the growth of the maturing of the law, that, people are realizing that it's not practical to have every single item that you're gonna talk about on an agenda. You gotta make a best effort for it, and obviously things that you're gonna, take action on, those gotta be on the agenda. But if you're gonna talk about theoretical discussion, it's not necessarily gonna make it on the agenda.
Okay, I see both sides, because it is very hard to anticipate that, but the public, again, the need that the public feels that they have a need to know, like you said, obviously, action items, anything we're gonna deliberate on or vote on, you can't, just like my thing tonight with the changing of the name, obviously I put it on as a discussion item, could have put it on, I didn't think to put it on as an action item, if, no rush to vote on it anyways, but I just came to my attention, I wanted to put it on. So I get that.
Well, this board is never, and I can say it with complete confidence, has never knowingly done anything to violate what the law requires at any time. If the issue that has been raised by Mr. Chipman requires us to change a process or a practice, and that's what we need to do, we'll do it. But, so well, that's all I'll say, we'll pass no judgment on it, because, you know, obviously we're in disagreement, so, so we'll respond accordingly and then let it go where it goes, doesn't matter, it's okay.
I mean, you know, I'm sure people know, I applied for the Norwood job, I watched a whole slew of their selectmen's meetings. They talked about a whole bunch of things that weren't on the agenda. You know, it's, because they have 5 selectmen,
And they talk about, but not take action. They do the right thing. I mean, again, you know, or maybe I don't want to get in trouble.
they would take votes on things that aren't on the agenda.
But you can't. I mean, I just thought you really can't do that.
Well, let's make one thing clear, we did not do that.
Oh, I know.
Okay? I mean, this was merely the sharing of a conversation.
Yep.
And, you know, and I was the one that had the conversation and what I intended to do for the next step. And that was shared. And I have always been under the impression that where there was no deliberation or debate, that, you know, because that conversation just took place, that was okay. And I even talked to the town clerk about that. It was her opinion as well. Now, if there's a different interpretation that we need to follow, okay, so be it. Not a problem.
Okay, thank you. Next,
Probably all we need to say.
what else do we have?
So are there any updates from the liaisons?
Not that I have, not for me.
Well, I mean, you mentioned this at the end of the meeting. You know, the folks that work for the schools, NCTV, et cetera, to pull that off last night. You know, Matt, other people, you know, jumping in. You know, it's a lot of setup, a lot of tear down to get ready for another day of school. So, you know, in the context of liaisons and the schools, Norfolk Public Schools,
You did a good job.
Echo those comments and thanks.
As a liaison to the King Philip School System, they are initiating a new superintendent search. I am also the representative by default. I guess I got the short, thank you, Mr.
Again,
Chairman.
yeah, I'm sure I did that to you again.
You
I've kept you
did.
embroiled in that.
You did,
Okay.
for the 3 towns on the teacher negotiations.
Oh, that one, yes. I forgot that. How's it even started?
It initially, so they've had framework discussions. The first meeting I'm involved in is, I believe, December 14th.
Okay,
So,
sorry about that.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, you're welcome once again. I apologize in advance for the struggle you're gonna go through. Hopefully, it's gonna be a breeze. I expect less than a week and you got it done. Right?
Okay,
Well, I'm glad it wasn't me, because I recently learned that the president of the teachers union is my daughter's government teacher, so
That could go really well.
works out better for me if
Yeah,
I'm not involved.
That could go out real well for you. Both, it depends. It could go really well.
I guess
for
it could go really good for me, but
Yeah, you
knowing
gotta
my
see-
nature, it would
We'll-
not.
we'll let it
I'd
die at that
Stick
point,
my
yeah.
foot in my mouth first.
Yeah.
that's the only update I have.
Okay. Sound good. Todd, any updates for us in the finance world?
No, I
We'll wait
do
for the
not.
big presentation. We're more excited for the big show.
Absolutely.
Started the
PowerPoint,
budget?
colors,
Bring some popcorn
Started
okay.
getting budgets in
next week. We start the process.
next week.
next week. Okay.
What's next, Jack, on the agenda?
Oh, sorry. Acceptance of minutes, April 10th.
Okay. That was also part of,
I think we should defer that, because that's the one, related to the meeting that we
Okay.
want to talk to Dave
yeah,
about.
all right. So we will defer that, the minutes, review of them and acceptance of them, okay?
And as I very non-eloquently said earlier, I don't think we need to go to executive session. Dave's only update was, he's just got to bring some examples of similar cases to the judge to continue the discussion about, this is the case where where our entertainment license is being challenged for Run and Gun Ranch.
Whether we have the authority to even
Right.
issue one or authorize one, right? Okay. Good luck to that.
Just to review, the board has always viewed the license as being a means to try to, for lack of a better word, you know, manage you know, any type of event which would take place there that involves a fee of some kind, you know, that type of transaction. So we viewed the entertainment license as a tool to try to protect the community, not to facilitate activities which would make what has become a difficult situation worse than what it already is. I mean, we've never viewed the entertainment license in that context. It's always been an effort to try to mitigate and manage a situation. And we continue to get emails as a Board of Selectmen where that seems to be misunderstood, that the license is viewed as something that this board is proactively issuing to allow something to take place that otherwise wouldn't happen, and that's not the case.
It's the other, it's almost
It's
the opposite.
absolutely not the case. So I just thought it's worth saying, because we just received something recently from, I think, someone who's newer to the town, that basically.
I responded, right, that copy, I think,
Yeah, you did. So, you know, I'm not sure how to better communicate the message in terms of what the license is and what it isn't. People, you know, think of a driver's license as, okay, it's a right to operate, you know, motor vehicle that you could otherwise operate anyway, right? So in that context, it can be confusing, because it is a license, but the activity would be taking place anyway in the context of the run and gun. So the license has an entirely different context that is still misunderstood, unfortunately.
Anything else? Marion, did we miss anything for this afternoon tonight?
No, I think we have everything.
Okay, Jack?
No.
Good?
Good.
All right. Get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, folks at home. Our next meeting would be January 9th. So have a great holiday, safe holiday, travel wisely, and treat each other nicely. Thank you.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.